Hey guys, Luke from MSC Performance, and today's video is going to help you learn how to warm up for your barbell movements. So we're looking at how to warm up for the specific movement after we've done our mobility work and our kind of ramp protocol, so like raising your temperature, activating the muscles, mobilizing, and also potentiation. So what do you do once you're under the barbell? So the aim of the barbell warm up for the barbell lift is to practice the skill of the movement that you're going to be doing. So what we're looking to do is just learn to execute, focus on your technique and get the lift moving exactly how you want your top set to do so. This is your perfect opportunity to practice the skill and get things moving to the level that you want them to do so. It also is specific movement prep. So you would have already done your mobility work and your movement preparation, but nothing's more specific than doing the actual movement itself. So if you have squats, doing actual squats on your barbell is going to really help you get into those specific angles and that specific movement, and look at the positions that you need. Is going to help them mobilize better than doing any kind of mobility work before. So it's going to be really specific to the exercise that you're going to be doing. We're looking at increasing your tolerance of heavier loads. So if you go from doing nothing to your heaviest weight, you might find that our body doesn't feel good doing so, or you might find that you often pick up little strains or aches and pains. So doing a good warm-up and getting used and getting accommodated to the loads can help us perform better and also tolerate these heavy intensities, which is something that you might struggle to do so if you didn't do a sufficient warm-up. It also potentially might increase your performance. So post-activation potentiation is performing a speed movement and then going into a strength movement, and vice versa, and looking at how this can acutely increase your performance. So doing your warm-up sets and doing them explosively and doing them as powerfully as we can might increase the actual performance of doing your working sets versus not doing them at all. So let's have a look now at some of the negatives that can happen if you under-prepare or over-prepare. So if you under-warm-up or if you don't do sufficient warm-up sets to get to your working sets, you might find that you had less chance to practice the skill, especially if you're a newer lifter. The technique might feel off. You might not be able to execute those top sets as well as you would be able to if you did more warm-up sets. Your body may not be prepared for heavy loads. So if you take a really big jump, from like 50% to 100% of the working weight that you're going to do, you might find that your body isn't quite able to tolerate the intensities, it's not quite prepared to accommodate that load. You might find that it leads to injuries or little niggles that would also be avoided if you did more of a sufficient warm-up. You have less chance of tapping into the potential of post-activation potentiation. So if you're not doing sufficient warm-up sets and doing them explosively, getting them moving as best as you can, you might lose that acute performance benefit that you may get from doing more warm-up sets. On the flip side, you may be doing too many warm-up sets, and that comes at a cost too. So the main cost would be your fatigue may be slightly higher than if you did do as many warm-up sets. So if you're doing like 10 warm-up sets to get to your walking set, by the time they get there, you might already be fatigued. You might find that leads to a drop in performance. So that's something that we can avoid by making sure that we're scaling the warm-up appropriately. It's also very time consuming, so doing 10 sets compared to doing 3 or 4 sets, it just takes a longer time, and that time can be better off used doing other exercises that will lead you towards your training goal. So if you've only got 90 minutes to training, it takes you 30 minutes to warm up for. That's 30 minutes that we've lost where we could do other strengthening exercises. So warming up too much also comes at a cost, and that's something that we can avoid. So we're going to talk you through how to optimise your warm up and how it should look. What I will say is that it is a very individualised thing. We're going to use this as a starting point, and then you can play around with adding more sets and taking sets away. Looking at these key points and taking those into consideration. So if you're doing 4 or 5 warm-up sets and you feel like your technique is fully dialed in but you feel a little bit tired, we can then reduce it down. If you're doing 3 or 4 but you feel like your technique isn't dialed in, we can add a set. So what we're saying is it's individualised, but we can use this as a really good starting point and make the adjustments from there. So let's give you a real life example of how your warm-up should look if you are going to do a barbell squat. Okay, so we're now going to give you 2 working examples of people that are warming up for a barbell squat. So person A is working up to 100 kilograms, person B is going to be working up to 40 kilograms. So a very different weight, and we're going to see how that influences and affects their warm-up weight difference. There's a couple of rules that we are looking at when we apply your warm-ups. We are looking to take smaller jumps as we get close to the working sets, and then we also reduce the repetitions as we go down as well, just to eliminate any chance of building up too much fatigue while still getting ourselves prepared. So a good starting point for most people will be to take 10% off their working weight, so taking back 10% to 90 kilograms. From there we take another 10% jump to 80 kilograms, and then from there you notice the jumps can get slightly bigger. So as we get closer to your working sets, we probably want to take smaller jumps as we're trying to get accommodated to those heavier loads. So the repetitions are also dropping as well. That is just to control the fatigue while still getting the readiness and still being prepared for those heavy weights. So all of these sets we're looking to do as explosive as we can while looking to execute. This is a really good starting point for someone doing 100 kilograms. But remember, it is highly individualized. So this person might come into the session feeling fit. If so, they might do a couple of additional warm-up sets to get themselves feeling good, to get their body feeling better underneath the bar, and also just to practice the technique. They might do this and find that it's too many sets and they come into it feeling fatigued. So use this as a starting point, and then you can make the adjustments from there and see how that affects your performance in those top sets. Person B, slightly weaker, is going to be working 40 kilograms on their squats, but they still apply the same amount of rules. As the jumps get smaller, as they get closer towards their working weight, the repetitions also drop down. So they're doing 40 kilograms for their working weight, taking up roughly 10% to 35, take up another 10% to 30, and then we can take a bigger jump back down to 20, 35. So they don't have to do as many working sets to get there, but the principles still apply. Then they're working backwards, they're taking 10% jumps from their working weight. This will then lead them to be prepared, but not overly fatigued. So like I said, this is a really good starting point. We can make adjustments from there based off your individual needs. Okay guys, so hopefully that gives you a good insight into how you should be warmed up for your barbell lifts. Remember that it is highly individual, and some people prefer to only do 2 or 3 sets, some people prefer to do 5 or 6 sets. We want you to use this as a starting point and then make adjustments from there based off how you feel going into your sets. It's going to be a lot of trial and error, so use this as your starting point, then you can try taking sets away, adding sets, adjusting the repetitions, and find what's most applicable for you. Use this as a starting point, and then we can hopefully find what works best for you over the forthcoming weeks. So hopefully that's helped guys, but if you've got any questions, please give me a shout, and I will see you next time. Thank you.